Premier League is back, and it's time for us to look at 10 key questions for the matches this weekend, which is match week 32 of the Premier League. And the first question on my list is: will the Zabi tweaks its method to save Spurs from relegation? Well, Spurs have turned to Roberto De Zerbi, whose brand of adventurous attacking football is a significant shift for previous Spurs managers like Igor Tudor, Frank, and even far back to Ange Postecoglou. But appointment at this stage is always a risk, and I think Spurs and Roberto De Zerbi is even in a bigger risk when it comes to their state of play and their position in the league table. But Roberto De Zerbi has experience of taking over Premier League club after the season have started with Brighton when he took charge of them after Graham Potter left in 2022. Though it wasn't the best that he had hoped for, because he failed to get a win from the first 5 matches with Brighton, and it was really a tough one because their Brighton club's captain as at then, which is Lewis Dunk, came out to say the first few weeks was horrendous. So I'm not saying that will be the fate of Spurs or Roberto De Zerbi, but it's something they really need to take note of, and that's why I'm asking: will Roberto De Zerbi tweaks his method to get a maximum point, or he's just going to try to impact his method on these players? Because for me, I think Spurs need to do everything they can right now to get maximum points from this match. And the match is going to be against Sunderland, who have been strong at home up until recent times, because Sunderland have lost each of their last 3 Premier League home matches, which I think came from exhaustion. But I think after the 3 weeks break, Lebris's team must have refreshed and ready for this match. And Sunderland last matches was against Newcastle, which they won, and they also made a record in terms of Newcastle and Sunderland rivalry. So it's going to be a very tough one. So we have to see if Roberto De Zerbi will focus on impacting his method into the players, or he will be doing everything possible to get all 3 points from that match. Then my second key question for this week is: do Arsenal's title hope rest on victory against Bournemouth? Do Arsenal's title hopes rest on a victory against Bournemouth? Well, the early kickoff match is one I think can be the biggest match of this weekend. Because no exaggeration, this match is going to be a very big one when it comes to the Premier League title, and a lose at this match will automatically hand Man City a huge chance in getting the league title. Is going to put Man City at the top when it comes to getting the league title. Even a draw will create enormous pressure, and I think it's a sport Arsenal don't need to get themselves into. So Arsenal should be looking to get maximum point from this match, because if they fail to get maximum points and try to create a 9-point gap, then it's going to be a very tough one for them heading into the last few games of the week. Arsenal, for themselves, I think before heading into the international break, they had all the confidence, but getting knocked out of the FA Cup and Cali Cup I think is one that will have shift momentum. But the midweek win against Sporting might just be an opportunity to reboot and take on Bournemouth at the Emirates Stadium. So it's going to be a very tough one. Because the last time Arsenal were knocked out of 2 competitions, and they also went on to win the league, is I think the 2004 season where they became invincible, because then Arsene Wenger's side were knocked out from the Champions League and from the League Cup, and eventually went on to win the league title, and they created the record of the invincible. So for Arsenal fans who have experienced that season, it's going to be a familiar one for them also, and I think winning the league title might just make up for the FA Cup and Cali Cup elimination. So that's another key questions we should be looking at this week. Can Arsenal come up with a win a win that could slide the door close for any contention when it comes to Manchester City. Then the third question on my list is: are Man City beginning a classic spring winning streak? Are Man City beginning a classic spring winning streak? Yes, they got knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid, where Real Madrid won them in both legs. But I think Pep Guardiola's side have responded in a very good fashion, getting a win against Arsenal and Liverpool in their cup matches. So who knows? Because Manchester City have always proven to be a side that's always come up with wins when it comes to the ending of the campaign. Right from the 2018 season, Manchester City have won at least 6 of their 8 matches when it comes to the last remaining 8 matches of the season. So who knows, maybe Manchester City have started a winning streak already. So we are going to find out this weekend as Manchester City play Chelsea, who are also in a very bad situation right now. So it's going to be a very tough one for Man City, no doubt. But I think Chelsea will also want to make a statement that yes, they deserve to be in the top 5 race when it comes to the Champions League. And with the likes of Enzo Fernandez missing out on that one, it's going to be a very tough one for Chelsea also. So without Champions League direction, Manchester City now feel like all their focus should be on the Premier League and try to make one last push for the Premier League title. So it's going to be a very, very, very exciting one there when it comes to Manchester City and Chelsea. And Erling Haaland scoring a hat-trick against Liverpool in the League Cup might just be the rebirth of Haaland, might just be Haaland, coming back to form, because 2026 have not been a very good year for Haaland. Then my next question on the list is, my fourth question is, are West Ham facing Wolves at just the wrong moment? Are West Ham facing Wolves at just the wrong moment? On paper, I think this is a match where West Ham should be getting the win. It looks winnable on paper, but you can't rule Wolverhampton Wanderers out, because Wolverhampton are unbeaten in their last 3 league matches, and they have been kind of a team reborn under their coach Pereira. So it's going to be a very tough one for both of them, because they are both fighting for relegation. A win for Wolverhampton Wanderers will see them climb up in the table this weekend, while a win for West Ham United will see them push for a spot outside the relegation as well. So it's going to be one of the toughest match of the weekend, because no doubt these two clubs are fighting and giving it their all to make sure they avoid the relegation battle. And West Ham have lost only one of their last 6 home Premier League matches, and maybe that could be a boost for them also, because in these weekend matches they host Wolverhampton in their league match this tonight, which is on Friday. So it's going to be a very good one, and it's going to be a very tough match for both teams, as they are both fighting to avoid relegation. And however, though Wolverhampton are in quite a very difficult spot when it comes to escaping the relegation battle, I think West Ham might just have an edge over them, but it's not going to be an easy match for both teams. So the fifth question on my list is, will the winner of Brentford versus Everton mount a top 5 challenge? This match should be a match for should be an opportunity for either Brentford or Everton to make a claim for a Champions League spot, because with Chelsea and Liverpool struggling this season, and Everton and Brentford just 3 points behind Liverpool and I think 2 points behind Chelsea, I think they have a chance here. They have a chance to get into the top 5 when it comes to qualifying for the Champions League. And with Arsenal beating Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League, England got an automatic spot, which make it a 5th spot for the Champions League season next season. So I think this one is going to be a tough one between both clubs, because Everton and Brentford both sit at the 7th and 8th place in the league table respectively. And Brentford are fighting for their first ever European qualification, so I think they'll be giving it their best. And Everton have been in a very good form lately, and also playing good football this season. So it's a match where we get to see Brentford and Everton battling it out to cause maybe an upset when it comes to the Champions League football. But no doubt, I think both teams might also qualify for European competition next season if they are to maintain some level of consistency, because then they still have the Europa League spots and Conference League spots to fight for. So it's going to be a tough one also on that game. And since March week 19 in the Premier League, only Arsenal and Manchester City have collected more points than Everton, which is a very, very good record for them. Only Arsenal and Manchester City have collected more points than Everton since March week 19, and have also won 3 of their last 4 matches in the competition. So it's going to be a very tough test for Brentford. And who knows, maybe their informed man in or Igor Thiago might just come up and bail them out on that one. Then the sixth key question to ask this weekend is: can informed Brighton take control of the Europa League race? Can informed Brighton take control of the Europa League race? Just 4 points separate 7th and 13th, and currently the leader of the pack is Brentford and are just 3 points behind Liverpool. So it's going to be a tough one, because just 4 points are separating the 7th place team and the 13th place team in the Premier League. That shows the state of play in the Premier League currently and how competitive that sport is, because then we have, I think, up to 6 to 7 teams battling it out to make the European finish in the European spots come next season. So it's certainly going to be a very tough one, as Brentford and Everton will be battling it out to see if they can make a push for a Champions League spot. Brighton are also there trying to see if they can make it to the Europa League spot. So that means there are 7 non-Big 6 club who believe they can qualify for Europe this season, and it's going to be and with 7 matches left, it means everyone have everything to fight for, and it's a very serious one. Now, the next key questions we should be asking for this weekend matches is: will Fulham capitalize on Liverpool's form and PSG distraction? For me, I think Liverpool are in danger of being dragged into that middle tier clubs fighting for Europe next season, and I think they would have been if they hadn't begun this season with that 5 wins from their first 5 matches, which was mainly gotten from late wins and lucky victories. And since the match week 6, Liverpool have lost more games than they have actually won, winning just 9 and losing 10 of those matches. And 11 clubs have won more points than Liverpool since that time. And Fulham is one of those clubs. And with just 5 points separating Liverpool and Fulham, it's going to be a very tough one. And Fulham will be confident enough to close that gap rapidly come this weekend. So it's going to be a very tough one for Liverpool, and the odds of Liverpool actually dropping points improved significantly with these games sandwiched with 2 leg Champions League game against PSG. And it's no secret that Liverpool tend to lose game and drop points after a midweek match, which has been a very tough one for them this season. And I think they find it hard to juggling between the Premier League and the Champions League matches. So it's one we should look out for, and we also need to. That's why we're asking if Fulham can capitalize on Liverpool's form and PSG distraction. Then the next key question we should be asking this week for this weekend matches is: can Newcastle benefit from free midweeks and mount a European charge? When it comes to this 3 weeks break, I think one of the teams that needed those break the most is Newcastle United, and I think Eddie Owell and his boys must have been refreshed because they have only won 3 of their last 9 league matches, which have been solely due to fatigue, and which have been solely due to fatigue. So I think with them getting this much needed break and this rest, I think they should be able to get back to form. And one thing I think will be playing a huge role for them is the fact that they won't be having any midweek matches from now till the end of the season, because they're out of the Champions League, they're out of the FA Cup, and also out of the Carabao Cup. So I think without any midweek matches coming up for them, it's actually time Eddie Owell, make his boys firing and get them up to the table, because they are actually 6 points from 5th place team Liverpool, and that's a very short point, honestly. If they can get in a good run, then I think they can end this season in a very very good way. So the midweek, the 3 weeks break is one I think will have a profound impact on majority of teams, and it's time for is up to Newcastle to see if they'll have a positive change because of that midweek break, or they will find it hard to make a positive change from that one. Then talking about 3 weeks break and 3 weeks break, the next key question we'll be asking is, will Forest or Villa rediscover their pre-international break momentum? Now, Newcastle will be excited about getting that 3 weeks break, but we can't say the same for Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa, because Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest both won their matches respectively before the international break, and before then Aston Villa have been in 5 games unbeaten. Have been in 5 games winless run. They have failed to win their last 5 games. Their last 5 games before their last matches. And for Nottingham Forest, the win against Tottenham Hotspur was their first win under their coach Victor Pereira. So this match is going to be one that will see if whether, because a defeat for either of these teams will actually see their momentum crashing down. So it's one I think can affect both teams significantly as well, and it's going to be a tough one. And I think the last match Aston Villa won can be accredited to their captain John McGuinn coming back from injury, because it's been a very good form for them this season, winning 14 of their 23 Premier League match he have started, and and Aston Villa have won just 2 of their Premier League matches without him starting. Then the last key question on our list before this week matches is, are Leeds falling deeper into relegation trouble? Are Leeds United falling deeper into relegation trouble? And I think this answer will be answered on Monday night, because Leeds are playing Manchester United at home, and I think that's going to be a very tough one for Leeds United, because Manchester United have made Old Trafford a fortress since the appointment of Michael Carrick. They have won every matches at home since Michael Carrick took charge, and since Christmas Day till now, Manchester United have won more points than any other team except Arsenal, which is a very good one for them, and Manchester United are in a very good form also. And with Leeds United failing to score in their last 4 Premier League matches, I think is one that's going to affect them also, because Manchester United are in a very very good form. So Leeds United are definitely going down if they are unable to get a win or a point from them. Who knows, maybe a victory at Old Trafford and against their rival might just be what they need to spur spearhead or might just be the catalyst for their survival this season, because they are just 4 points above the 18th team in the Premier League. So I think with a lose on Monday night, it might be a very, very horrible one for them, dropping points. So these are my key questions for these weekend matches. The first question is, will De Zerbi tweak his method to save Spurs from relegation? The second question is, do Arsenal's title hopes rest on victory against Bournemouth? Then the third question is, are Man City beginning a classic spring winning streak? Then the fourth question is, are West Ham facing Wolves at the wrong moment? The fifth question is, will the winner of Brentford and Everton mount a top 5 challenge? Then the sixth key question for this weekend matches is, can informed Brighton take control of Europa League race? Then the seventh key question for this weekend matches, will Fulham capitalize on Liverpool's form and PSG distraction? Then the eighth key question for this weekend matches is, can Newcastle benefit from midweek matches and mount a European charge? Then the ninth question on my list is, will Forest or Villa rediscover their pre-international break momentum? And the last and the 10th question on my list is, are Leeds falling deeper into the relegation trouble?